Okay, you emphasize the power of the mind a lot, and I completely agree with that. Where is the power of the heart in this picture? What do you think about that?
I think yeah, that goes into what emotion is, and emotion is the result of your immediate environment.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? So I feel a certain way right now based on what I see. If I didn't see, I feel based on how I feel. And if I don't see and I don't feel, can I still feel? If I have no speech, no smell, no eyesight, no nothing, can I still feel? You can. But if I was born with all of those senses deadened, dysfunctional, which unfortunately there's people that exist like that.
Yeah.
Their brain still seeks emotion. I saw an old documentary, it was like from the 60s, German documentary, about children who were born with no eyesight, they can't speak, they can't hear, nothing. But what they notice in these children is that they try to communicate. They make attempts to communicate. Now, does that attempt to communicate tie into emotion, or just the simple need to survive as a species?
Mm-hmm.
If that person that has all these issues was thrown out to the wild, it's going to try and survive. And is that from emotion, or just robotic function that's in our DNA to survive? That's interesting. So I think, so what I'm saying is your emotions are influenced by your immediate environment, the now. Mm-hmm. The now. But it's not one answer, because also the emotion stems from the before. Mm-hmm. Before. If I go through, and again, I'm not saying anything, I'm cautious with that, because I don't want people to think that I'm always talking about things that I think others don't know. But this is all logical, and so it's good to remind people that emotion, like I'm saying, is the now. Emotions stem from your past, your upbringing, your childhood, what your parents led you to believe. You know, if they believed your support network, all that shaped you at an early stage. Your parents, your life, early in your first levels of life, were influenced you emotionally and mentally, of course, right? And how those were shaped early on is how you express those emotions now, and how you control those emotions or don't control those emotions, which is a big problem today, or always has been anyway. You know, people get emotional over everything. Mm-hmm. Everything, there's people, I'm around some people like that. So, does that tie into the mind? Of course. Because if you have somebody who's a mental wreck, they're an emotional wreck. If they're an emotional wreck, well, their mind is a wreck. And the two work together. So yeah, the two are one. Emotion and rationality, or rational logic and emotion. They are one. They are one. I think where they fall apart and separate is when, not to sound mystical all the time, but I think is one of them just barely gets overweighted on that balance. Mm-hmm. You know, I was trained, nothing that has to do with this topic really, but when I had my day job, I was trained all the time and reminded for problem solving. Yeah, it's like military, you cannot have emotion involved in solving a problem. If there's a fire and you need to put that fire out, you don't get emotional, you react. With logic, you put the fire out. But you put the fire out because you were emotional about it. There's something you have sentimental value for that you don't want that to be destroyed in that fire. Mm-hmm. So you have emotions of some kind. So your logic says, in your mind says, fire needs to be out now. Heart says, because somebody will die or my guitar will be destroyed. They're all one. So.
If the mind is eternal, do you think that death exists at any level?
Well, the mind. I don't know if the mind is eternal. I wouldn't believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's wishful thinking. If I've said that before, I've meant that metaphorically. How that makes sense, even in a metaphor, I think it's because, and I'm not confirming this, but when an artist dies, his music lives on. Say for a composer, his music lives on. So you're keeping his mind alive. You hear his mind. Remember, we just finished talking about mind and emotion are one.
Yeah.
Music is written many times with the mind and the heart, or the soul. So when that music is played, you're hearing that person's, if that writer was honest, then you're hearing their mind and their soul forever. You know, as long as that music is around, they're around. Or at least that one little segment of that person that he revealed through his music, or she, revealed through the music, is forever. But the other half, what was the other part of the question?
I asked whether you think death exists in any way or at any level.
Absolutely, yeah, it does. It does. It does. But this is where you get down into the quantum aspect of it. Is, I wish I could remember this one. Somebody used the metaphor of infinity exists because if I take that table and I cut it like a slice of bread, and I keep slicing that bread, and then those layers of bread, or say that table is now as thin as this paper, we can continue slicing that paper and keep slicing, and then that, the atoms, and keep breaking it down, and to what point? Let's not say to what point, or how far do we have to go to say that table we began slicing like bread, it got so thin that it died. So the microcosm now is what needs to be magnified, and our microscopes are only so powerful now. They're, we can only see so far, so into the micro world. So I don't know where true death exists, or a true ending of some thing can exist. We are a thing also. So if you're going to be cremated, or you want to, when you die, you want your body to rot and your bones go away, and let's say we are absolute atheists right now. We believe in nothing. There's no spirit, there's no nothing. At least we can say that when it comes to the physical world, when everything is gone, how much of that is truly gone? And yeah, does that matter? No. The scientist is going to say this holds no meaning at all. Your molecules are gone. You're dead. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he said he wants to be buried. Famous astronomer. He said when he dies, and a lot of astronomers say this, when they don't want to be cremated, they think that's a waste. They do find value in being dead, but not fully dead. This guy Tyson, he said, when I die, I want to be buried into the earth. I want my bones to rot. I want to return everything back to earth, and I want it to return to the stars. And we are part of the soil. We are part of the trees, the earth. We need to be recycled back into it. This is a person who is completely atheist. I mean, he doesn't believe in the spirit. He's a scientist. They only go by what they can prove. And he says it's a great thing. And he kind of, in essence, is saying that we're not fully dead. We are, I know what you mean, but maybe there is not truly death in itself.
When you leave the human body, and if you would get the chance to choose where to go, where would you go? What would you do?
I don't know. Because when I die, we're leaving the world of I do know. because I do know this exists, and I did know that this existed, but I don't know where to go if I don't know. So I don't know where to go. I don't know where I'd like to go. And I could say I'd like to go to the furthest edges of space or another dimension. That would be great. It would be great. That's the mystery of death. That's the beauty of it, of not knowing. That's the veil of the occult. That's the true veil, is what is after that. So
we'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there is a book that everybody should read?
I'd like to say yes. Sometimes I say yes to that. It's a rare question. It's not, but I could recommend some, but at the end of the day, all books are written by humans that experience different things, but at the end of the day, we all experience the same things. So it's hard to recommend something. I think more than recommending a book, I would tell people to try and think more, because the more you think, the more things you start to find. And when you start to find things, you will start to question those things. And to find the answer to those things you question, you start looking for people who know more than you, and sometimes those are in books. And that's where they'll know what to read, where to go, where to get it. Yeah, it's not really right now. They need to find out what's good for them, what they need to read. But to give you a short answer, I'd say read anything on astronomy right now, the up-to-date, the most current thing on anything with astronomy.
How do you recharge your batteries nowadays?
Well, I assume that's more of a personal question, not literally, right? Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, what do you do? What's your retreat?
Get on a bike. I do that every now and then. I do a lot of gaming. I actually like to game a lot. I'm a real hyper person, very active. Mine doesn't stop, so on the games or physical activity like the bike, I can just keep it going. That's about it. I can say the boring part that I play the guitar all the time.
Is that boring?
No, no, but I recharge like that. Something I have to do.
Okay.
Yeah, simple. I have to keep things simple. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. What are the plans for Inquisition for the future?
Immediate future, same, just tour. I love playing live. Life is getting much better as I get older, so I want people to hear that positive part. And that being said, we're ready to keep touring, and I'd rather people, if they're willing to, I'd rather people get tired of seeing us live than hearing us on their iPod all the time. I think it's a much better experience, so we'll keep touring and keeping things very, hopefully, I know on my side it will be, but keep people very interested. And why? This isn't just about like, okay, a job, this is what I do, I'd rather do this versus a day job. I mean, I won't lie, I do prefer doing this, but of course, I mean, I hope it shows, but it's like a mission. I have to do this. I have to. There a lot of times when people succeed at something, people or critics think it's something superficial or some kind of stupid greed, or no, it's because the person is passionate. If they're passionate about it, it's because they have to do it. They have to do it, or at least it's the best situation they have, and they're going to refine it and make it better, and that's what we're doing. Yeah, and then of course new album again, but we're talking a few years from now, 3 years maybe.
And do you know anything about the direction you want to go?
Yeah, that's already, oh yeah.
Can we hear something about it?
I'm not saying anything about it. Yeah, it's, yeah, pretty same but not same. So I'd like to, well, what I could say is this album will probably have, this current album will probably have a bigger influence on the next album versus all the other previous albums, I think. I think this album is kind of like, I would say, this is an extreme for an example. I like auto design. I like cars, and I would say like this is a new generation. It's a new. It sounds funny to say, but like I love muscle cars, Mustang. Okay, Mustang just came out with a new generation. So this is like a new generation of a style. So I'm thinking I'll build off of this one. And, but anyone worried, no worries. You'll know it's Inquisition every single time. Absolutely.
So the very last thing, do you have a message to the fans?
Yeah, just slow down. Slow down. Live life and listen to your music in the same way. Take your time. When new albums come out, take your time. Then we can talk. Yeah, but yeah, everything, just slow down. It's good.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.